Have you ever felt invisible to someone you loved? Like no matter what you did, they just didn't seem to care? That's how I felt about my father for most of my life. But what if I told you that the love you're searching for has been there all along? Hidden, in the quietest moments, in the smallest gestures, in the sacrifices you never noticed. This is the story of how I discovered the silent love of a father, a love that changed everything. I used to think my father didn't love me. He was a quiet man, distant, reserved, always buried in work. He never said I love you. He never held me the way other fathers did, never celebrated my achievements. As a child, I longed for his warmth, his approval, his presence. But all I got was silence. One night when I was 7, I had a fever. My mother wasn't home, so my father sat beside my bed, pressing a cool towel against my forehead. I whispered, "Daddy, can you stay?" He didn't answer. He simply adjusted my blanket and stayed. When I woke up in the middle of the night, he was still there, asleep on the chair beside my bed, his head resting against the wall. But even then, I convinced myself it didn't mean anything, because as I grew older, the silence between us only grew louder. When I was 14, I saw a dress in a shop window. It was the dress I wanted for the school dance. "Dad, can I have this dress?" I asked, my voice bubbling with excitement. He glanced at the price tag and shook his head. "We can't afford that, Lena." Disappointment burned in my chest. "You never buy me anything," I muttered, turning away. That night, I overheard my parents talking. My mother said, "Maybe we can find a way." She really wants it. My father sighed. "I know, but there are more important things right now." I didn't understand then. I didn't understand the weight of his words, the sacrifices he was making. All I saw was a father who didn't care. Years passed and the distance between us grew. He never attended my school events, never told me he was proud of me. When I got my college acceptance letter, I ran home, waving it in the air. "Dad, I got in." He glanced at the letter, nodded, and simply said, "Good." Just good. No hug, no celebration. I turned away, hurt. When I left for college, our conversations became rare. He never called. If my mother passed him the phone, our talks lasted mere seconds. "Are you eating well?" "Yes, Dad." "Good." I convinced myself he didn't miss me. I convinced myself he didn't love me. Then, one evening, I received a phone call. My father had passed away. The funeral was quiet. I barely spoke. I felt an emptiness. But I wasn't sure what I had lost. Afterward, I returned to my childhood home to sort through his belongings. In the corner of his closet, I found a small wooden box. Inside were stacks of old, yellowed receipts. One was for the dress I had wanted years ago, paid in small installments. Another was for my first laptop for college. A folded paper showed my school tuition payment plan. At the bottom of the box, I found an envelope filled with newspaper clippings. My name was in all of them. Local student wins science fair. High school valedictorian speech moves audience. Top student accepted into prestigious university. He had saved everything, and then there were letters, carefully folded, never sent. My hands trembled as I opened one. "Dear Lena, I'm sorry I don't say much. I know you think I don't care, but I do. Every time I say no, it's because I want to give you more later. Every time I don't say I love you, it's because I hope you already know. I don't know how to show it like other fathers do, but I hope one day you'll understand." Tears blurred my vision. My entire life, I had thought he never loved me, when in reality he had been showing it every single day. I closed my eyes, and suddenly, memories flooded back. I was 6 years old watching a scary movie. That night, I had nightmares and woke up crying. My father sat beside me, placing his hand on my back, patting it gently. He didn't say anything, just stayed there until I fell asleep. Another memory, rain poured outside as I stood in my school uniform, waiting. He arrived late, completely drenched. "Dad, where's your umbrella?" I had asked. "I lost it," he had said. But years later, I realized he hadn't lost it. He had given it to me that morning. The next morning, I visited his grave. I placed the letter beside the flowers and whispered, "I love you too." And in the silence, For the first time, I felt his love more than ever. Not all love is spoken. Sometimes it's in the sacrifices we never see. Sometimes it's in the quietest moments. Sometimes it's in the things left unsaid. My father's love was silent, but it was there, always there, and now I know. So tell me, whose silent love have you been missing? Don't wait until it's too late to see the love that's been there all along. Because sometimes the loudest love is the one that's never spoken.